It's September 29th, 2019. It's still pretty rainy here in Seattle. Let's start the update over here. Let's look at the pine tree. Right here you can see this weird leaf sticking together thing. Not this one though. And the ficus tree is doing good, as you can see. And then the lavender, you can see it's doing really well. There's a lot of new growth after I trimmed the plants, and some new flowers too. And at the base of the plants you can see a lot more new growths coming out. Rosemary is doing really well too. Right here you can see a lot of flower buds forming. Right here is a lot more flowers. You can see some of them have opened already. And over on this side of the plants there's a lot more flowers forming, you can see. And actually all over the plants there's a lot more flowers forming. Hydrangea looks pretty much the same as last week. Rosemary, you can see it's sending out a lot of new leaf growth. Over here we have the Frizzle Sizzle. You can see this is one of the last flowers. All of the flowers has faded and fallen off. The leaves looks pretty healthy still. Over here we have the elephant food plants. You can see the leaves are still getting bigger. The tomato, you can see right here it's still sending out some flowers, but the whole plant is infected by powdery mildew. It's pretty bad. Here we have the wildflowers. The California poppy is still growing, and here we have this sweet asylum. It smells really good. And the peony, you can see it's dying back now. Succulents pot, see all of them are looking great, even with all the rain. And the pineapple, you can see the leaves are getting a lot bigger every week still. Over here we have the mulberry. You can see some of the leaves have started to change color. So it's dying back now too. Let's look over here. You can see the grape hyacinth, just a bunch of leaves. I'm not seeing any flowers. Here we have the dahlia. You can see this flower bud is getting bigger now. And here's a few more flower buds. Down here we have the lily of the valley. You can see the fruits is pretty red now. And right here is a few more fruits. You can see they're all pretty red now. I could probably collect the seeds from the fruits. And the blueberry, you can see the leaves are definitely turning red now. Here's the calla lily. You can see some of the leaves have started to turn yellow, so it's dying back now too. Over here we have the strawberries. You can see the leaves are all still around. And over here we have this poor strawberry, gotten damaged badly by the slugs. Over here we have a couple more strawberries forming. This is a big one too. That's too bad. And of course it's still sending out lots of runners. The green onion is looking great. You can see the base of the plant is really getting thicker now. And the plant itself is getting super tall and big too. Here we have the hydrangea. You can see some of the leaves have started to turn yellow too. So it's slowly dying back, but also here it's also sending out some new flowers. This stalk is also getting super tall. Over here it's the asparagus. You can see this stalk over here is sending out some more new leaves. And down here is another new growth. Over here is the flowers forming from one of the main stalk. It's interesting how the asparagus is still flowering at this time of the year. And then here we have the catnip. You can see it's growing a lot. And then here's the other hydrangea. You can see this stalk over here is also sending out some new flowers. and it's also getting super tall. The raspberry, you can see a lot of side growths with flowers, like these ones over here. These one doesn't look like they're pollinated completely, so the fruits are pretty sad. This stalk over here, you can see there's a lot of side growth with flowers as well. And then this stalk over here, you can see a lot of fully formed raspberries, which I'm gonna harvest today. And here's one more fruit. So yeah, this is the harvest I did today. Over here we have the grape. You can see the leaves are all turning yellow now. Rhubarb, looks like it's still sending out some new leaves, like that one over there. Potato, you can see these new leaves are still hanging around, and these older leaves are dying back. I'm gonna probably clean this up. From here you can see that biggest potato poking out. Here's one more potato that I found, and here's another one. And then on this side, there's another one that's also poking up. Lastly, it's the artichoke. You can see the main stalk has turned yellow. I'm gonna cut that off. And like last week, you can see this new baby plants are taking over now. As for the indoor garden, let's look at the orchid first. The Venus slipper orchid, you can see the flower is still around, but on the edge of the flower, it's turning a little yellow. I think it might be fading away soon. Here's the new growth. You can see it's getting taller, same as this one. It's getting taller as well. Over here we have the mini snowflake. You can see it looks pretty much the same as last week, just a bunch of new growth. Then string of pearls, pretty much the same as last week too. You can see some part of the plants is dead, like this one. Here we have the mini oncidium. This one is the same. And then this one you can see the flower stalk is maturing now. It's getting longer still. And here's the third flower stalk that I showed you last week. Down here's some other orchid. All looks pretty good. The Phalaenopsis is doing well. You can see the new leaf is getting bigger. Then let's look at the staghorn fern. The biggest showed frond, or the oldest one, you can see it's turning brown. On the edge, if you look closely, you can see a distinct line between the green and the brown. And then on the other side, you can see this new shield frond forming. It's getting bigger every day. And at the center, in between those shield frond, you can see some antler fronds coming out. And let's look at the Hoya plants. Just a bunch more new leaves, like this one over here. And the vine is still getting longer, like right here. And the spider plant, you can see it's still sending out a bunch of new leaves. The prayer plant, let's look at that new growth at the center. Right here, you can see the leaf is getting taller. Here we have the other orchid. You can see the new leaf getting bigger. Lastly, I want to show you this spider plant in water. You can see the flower spike is now flowering.